Hi, here's a really quick demo on how to set up SSO with Azure Entra ID and OneUptime. Uh, Before I do that, on my left, I have this OneUptime project and the OneUptime dashboard. On my right, I have the Azure dashboard. Um, I need to create a project to set up SSO, so let me do that real quick. So if I click on create a project, I say SSO test, click on next, click enterprise or scale because SSO is available in one of these plans. And click on enterprise, click create project. Once I actually do that, this is the dashboard that I see. A new project is created for me. I'll click on more, click on project settings. If I scroll all the way down here, I'll see the SSO option. So if I click on SSO, create an SSO, Azure, I can type in the SSO name, which is anything you like, Azure Entra ID, that would be the description. If I hit on next, I have this thing called single or sign on URL. This is exactly like what I'll get from Azure. So if I jump to my Azure dashboard, I click on new application, click on create your own application. I can say OneUptime SSO test, click on create. It'll take a second or few seconds to create an application, but once it's actually done, I'll click on the setup single sign-on, which is step number 2. I'll click on get started. It'll take me to the single sign-on page. I'll click on SAML, and these are all the steps that I that I need to work on. So if I go to step number 4 real quick, I have this login URL. So I'll copy this login URL, paste it up here in the first text box, and you have this Microsoft Entra ID identifier, which I can copy and paste it in the second text box. Click on next. It'll ask me from a certificate from Azure, and Azure doesn't let me download the certificate until I fill both of these values. So I'll quickly fill those values as well. So I can have these as temporary values for now. I can say example.com. I'll copy this. I'll click here as well. I'll have both of these as example.com. We'll change this later down the line. So I'll hit save. And once I actually do that, I'll say it's saved successfully. And once I actually have both of these values up here, and now I can download the certificate. So if I click on download, it'll basically download the certificate for me. And I can quickly open that file in my text editor and enter the value there. So give me 1 second. I'm actually opening that file in my text editor and copying the value. So this is the value. Please ensure you have end certificate and begin certificate as well included. I'll select signature method as SHA-256, SHA-256. This is basically the default that most people use at this time. Click on enabled. Teams, it usually asks which team should I sign the user into when they sign up with this SSO app. I can actually select you can sign this user into the members team. Click on create SSO. Once the SSO is created, I have this view SSO config button up here. So if I click on view SSO config, I have identifier and I have reply URL. I can actually enter both of these value here. So if I copy this first thing, now remember we entered example.com in the first step of Azure SSO. We can click on edit, enter identifier URL in the first box, enter reply URL in the second box. If I hit save, it is saved. Now my application is ready to test, but before I do that, I need to assign a user to this application so a user can sign in. So if I click on users and groups, click on add user and groups. I'll add a user. I'll add my user, and if I click on select, click on assign, and if I go back to SSO to test, hit this test URL, click on test sign in, and it should basically pass the test. Once I'm actually done with this, I can close this box. I also have this test URL from OneUptime, so I can actually click on this URL, click on this Azure side of things, and it should basically log me into the same project. That's it. That's how easy it was to set up SSO. Thank you so much for watching.